I want to talk about the beginning for a second. Where did you realize that you could take, or when and how did you realize you could take that passion for collectibles and memorabilia and sports and actually turn it into a business way before social media?
Well, I mean, I was looking at the collectible thing, and people have been collecting stuff, for 100 years, frankly, and maybe even more. So I looked at the business and I thought there was a lot of room for improvement. When I started getting into collectibles, I was a marketing company, still have that marketing company. That's what the Steiner agency is, but we book athletes and do appearances. And when I did the collectible thing, I only thought that was going to supplement. So if I hired Eli Manning or Peyton Manning to go do an appearance for a corporate thing, back then it was Roger Staubach or Franco Harris, what I thought would be cool is I'd bring 12 footballs to sign for the corporate customer to be able to give out to the people who were there, or maybe to give to clients. I never really looked at me getting into the collectible thing as something that I was going to do as a more of a fandom thing and more of a retail thing. I was really just looking at it as a corporate thing. So, and I was doing that. I mean, I was always a saver and always a collector. I always loved signed stuff and different knick-knack stuff. But what's crazy is I was on the train in 1994. This is not going to be as sexy a story as you think, but it's actually the truth of it, because I am a spiritual solution-based salesperson, not just somebody who just does something just for the money, although the money always matters. So I'm on the train and I'm on the Metro North, and you're a Westchester, Connecticut guy, that's the train that gets you into the city.
Sure.
And I got to tell you, going on that train was misery for me. I hated getting on the train, especially, waiting. I missed the train and everything else. And across from me is this woman arguing with her husband. Another guy had his shoes off. Another person was eating, and it just was not working for me. This 45-minute train ride. And my mom had just passed away, and the Rangers had just won the Stanley Cup. And the New York Rangers, the hockey team, winning the Stanley Cup is comparable like to the Cubs winning recently a couple of years ago. We hadn't won in 54 years. The whole city was going crazy. That was an original 6 team. So I looked at this guy's newspaper, and there's a picture of Mark Messier with the Stanley Cup, grinning. And and I'm like, my wife was making most of the money. I wasn't doing really well at that point. I was making a little bit of money. I didn't have the balls to ask her for me to get my own car to drive in the city. It was expensive. So I'm thinking to myself, I got to get a car. I got to go make some money. So I look at this paper and I'm like, I bet you I could sell 15,000 of those. That's the amount of people that fit into Madison Square Garden that probably was at that game when the Rangers won the Cup. So it takes me like 3 months. And I always say, it doesn't really matter where you are. As miserable as I was, trekking into the city, not making a lot of money, trying to figure out where the Steiner company was going at the time, I wasn't willing to accept it anymore. I'm like, I don't mind. I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm not getting on this train anymore. And I got to figure out how to make enough money to go buy a car. So I look at this thing, and I track Mark down. It takes me like 3 months. Calling his account. And again, it doesn't matter where you are. It's what you want to accept. I'm not willing to accept getting on this train anymore. Therefore, I'm willing to do anything and everything to track his sister, brother, uncle, cousin, accountant, lawyer down. I tracked Mark down, and I signed my first collectible deal. Not for the betterment of mankind, not because I want to do all these cool things for the fans, but I just want to get off the goddamn train. And so I pushed myself into the collectible business, signing this first guy to a collectible deal, because I thought I could make a lot of money. And sure enough, I did. I got sold the hell out of it. I did a 2-year deal with Mark, and we did really, really well. I didn't really even see it coming. I wasn't even sure it was going to work, but it was worth the chance, because I knew if this worked, I'd be able to go make some money and then buy the car, which is what I did. So to get the collectible company started with a really bad day on a train, kind of dwelling probably on my mom's death, not feeling too good about myself, and coming up with a high level of unacceptance and saying, I'm not going to tolerate this position anymore. And only then was I ready to do whatever it took to do something about it, which ended up hence pushing me to start another division to my existing company, which was to start selling collectibles to anyone and everyone that wanted to buy a Mark Messier photo. Right. It was a goddamn money grab. I'm not going to lie. But, in fairness, I was a solution-based salesperson. I realized after I did that deal that there was a lot of issues out there in collecting with fraudulent stuff. No one had ever done hockey collectibles, really. It was not a market that had even been created. And all kinds of opportunities came from that initial money grab. And the message I wanted to say to you is, listen, I think it's important to do things for the right reasons, but sometimes it's okay just do them because You just want to make some money so I can go buy I bought myself a nice Lexus and drove from that day on. And I mean, sometimes it's okay to say, you know something, I just want to be a little richer than I am now because I want to buy a capitalistic thing, a monetary thing. I'm going to be a little pretentious. I want to upgrade my car. I want to buy a little nicer house, and I'm going to go bust my ass to go get it. But I think when you're doing that sort of thing, if you're doing that thing year in and year out, and that's basically the main course of your action of working on a day-to-day, you're probably going to be very disappointed when you get down to the end of that train line, because that will not bring you to happiness, and that's not going to keep you fulfilled. So you got to be careful. But every now and then, if you have something really that's important to you that you want to have, I mean, that's part of life, and it's okay to get into a money grab situation, I think. But if that's your whole game, then you're just going to end up waking up one day with a pot full of money and not a whole lot else to show for it. And you're probably holding yourself back to finding out what you're truly here to do, and the other things that really can create a lot of joy other than just making money.